I was notified on social media, just like everyone else. We were waiting for the official statement to be issued by the party HQ. And just after midnight, the Secretary General, Datuk Sri Ahmad Maslan, issued the press statement saying that I had been sacked. Of course, prior to that, I had friends within the Supreme Council messaging me saying, "It's over, Chief, you're out." So just to explain this, just like any other organization, there is a due process to be followed, and for disciplinary matters, you need to send out a show cause letter and allow the person their day in front of the disciplinary board where they can explain and answer the accusations against them. That never took place. I received no letter. I was not asked to present myself in front of the disciplinary board. I was unilaterally and summarily dismissed by the Supreme Council. I don't think it's fair at all. I was trying to say that there are better days ahead for UMNO. I was trying to say that that I represented a new generation that wanted to revive and reform UMNO. And I don't see how that positive messaging of understanding the public's disenchantment with UMNO and wanting to restore the credibility of the grand old party, as you said, as something that is negative. And you have to remember that I was contesting in an urban area in which we have been uncompetitive for many, many years. And that is precisely the sort of vision that they wanted to see. My point was not against the party. My point was not against the party membership, but my point was against the party leadership. So perhaps on that score there was criticism, but it was certainly not to run down the party in the general election. Mm-hmm. It was more giving hope to people who had lost trust with UMNO, that there was hope and that we could give our support to UMNO. I don't know why there's a distinction between me and Nohoma. He was initially suspended, but he was at the Supreme Council meeting because he was still a member. I'm not a member, Hisham's not a member. And rather than being suspended, Noh said, you might as well expel me, which is the right thing to do, because if you're suspended, you're in a sin bin, you can't do anything. You can't contest for positions, and essentially you are neutered within the party. So I think Noh made the right decision to just say, you might as well just expel me. And apparently Zahid told him to get out. And the distinction between me and Hisham, that's quite clear. I have no cachet for UMNO in Parliament. I'm not a member of Parliament. I think if Hisham was not a member of Parliament, he would have been expelled as well. But because Zahid needs those numbers to prop up the government, he can't afford to expel Hisham. By the way, they said Noh had 15 charges. I saw the show cause letter, only 3 charges. So we don't know where all these additional charges came from. We don't know where all these accusations came from. As I said, it was unilateral. It was not even a consensus. It was not a consensus by the Supreme Council. In fact, more people spoke out against the sacking and the suspension than supported it. Well, if you look at the UMNO constitution, if you are charged in court, you have to vacate your position. And we know that that was not adhered to in the case of Datuk Sri Najib, especially when you look at his position as the head of Pekan division. So there does exist double standards within the party and the application of the constitution based on the individual and based on whether or not that individual is supportive or useful to the party leadership. No, that's not true. I think in previous cases, perhaps not publicly, but we have always, and I have always said during meetings, whether during the Supreme Council or the management meetings, which I was part of, that due process must be adhered to. that we cannot summarily dismiss people, because this is natural justice within the party. If you are taking away the rights of that member, if you are expelling the member, then he must have his day in front of the disciplinary board, or he must have his day in front of court, so to speak. So I know that comment came from Zaid Ibrahim, saying that no one kicked up a fuss when he was thrown out. Maybe not publicly, but we certainly did say that anybody who falls foul of disciplinary rules has a right to explain themselves. It's very sad because we always, and I've been loyal to UMNO right up till the end. And I still consider myself an UMNO person. And for the party to descend to this is extremely sad and disappointing for me. Whatever one thinks of UMNO, we have always prided ourselves on being a party that was open as far as electoral contests within the party is concerned, allowing people to run for positions within the party. And one thing that Najib did, which was good, was to even expand the suffrage of people who voted for the top leadership, from just the delegates at PWTC to hundreds and thousands of delegates at the division level across the country. And that made for a much more democratic party. And if you look at the last presidential elections, yes, I lost to Zahid, but I got more than 60 divisions. And if you combine the popular vote of Tengku Razali and I, we had much more votes than Zahid. So in that sense, UMNO was always an open party as far as electoral contests go. Of course, from time to time, you will have advisory statements saying don't contest for number one, number two, but not to the extent of passing a motion and saying it's barred for you to contest for the presidency and the deputy presidency. I'm less sanguine about UMNO's prospects for the future, because for us, for UMNO to have come back from the disastrous electoral performance, it would have had to require a complete overhaul, starting with its leadership. And that would have necessitated the top two positions in being contested during the party election. And we know that that's not going to happen now. And we know that the voices of dissent, especially those who were vocal, mine, Nohoma, Anwar Musa, we've all been dismissed.
Parti Amanah Negara Kawasan Hang Tuah Jaya sedang mengumpul dana untuk membantu kempen pilihan raya negeri Selangor, Pulau Pinang, Negeri Sembilan, Kelantan dan Terengganu. Sudilah kiranya hulurkan derma ikhlas untuk kami. Terima kasih kerana menonton. Jangan lupa subscribe, share, tekan butang loceng.